we're going to unpack a really profound, entirely shame-free approach to overcoming unwanted habits. And specifically, we're talking about the silent, often isolating battle of lust. We're going to explore some genuinely fascinating spiritual strategies that literally reframe the whole way we handle these internal tugs of war.
Have you ever felt just totally exhausted by the endless cycle of sheer willpower? I mean, we've all been there, right? You tell yourself, okay, I'm going to try harder this time. I'm going to force myself to stop. But fighting these silent battles, it usually brings this heavy, isolating shame. And relying on pure grit almost always leaves us feeling totally defeated. So what if the secret to overcoming this wasn't actually about just trying harder?
Well, that brings us right to our core premise. True healing actually comes from a radical reframe. It requires us to anchor ourselves heavily, and I mean heavily, in grace, rather than demanding flawless perfection from ourselves. We really need to shift our focus away from the simple, exhausting denial of an impulse and lean deeply into cultivating a meaningful relationship with God instead. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the limits of willpower. This right here perfectly illustrates the fundamental paradigm shift we're talking about today. Just look at the sharp contrast. We're moving away from white-knuckling your way through denying an impulse. Doing that just drains your mental energy. It's exhausting. Instead, we're moving toward the cultivation of a relationship. This is all about reorienting your heart's desires so the impulse actually loses its grip on you in the first place. Now, this brings us to an incredible concept, coined by theologian Thomas Chalmers. He called it the expulsive power of a new affection. It's such a powerful phrase, isn't it? Chalmers basically suggested that you can't just empty your heart of bad things. You can't just leave a vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum. Instead, you have to fill your heart with awe for the divine. You replace a harmful desire with a higher, much more beautiful one. And when you do that, the lesser desires just naturally begin to fade away. So how do we practically apply Chalmers' big idea? Well, first, instead of making not lusting your primary goal, make knowing God your goal. Put your focus and your energy on devotion. And second, you've got to pivot quickly. When temptation hits, immediately redirect that energy. Turn it into a short prayer, maybe a physical act of service, or even a creative task. By doing this, you're actively building up that beautiful new affection. All right, moving on to Section 2, guarding your mind's gateways. The source material for this explainer points out that the eyes and the mind are really the primary gateways for lust. Because of this, creating a healthier environment for yourself can massively reduce that internal battle before it even starts. You've got to be intentional about your visual boundaries and your media consumption. And hey, this isn't just about avoiding obvious explicit material. It's really about recognizing those subtle triggers in everyday media that breed discontent or encourage the objectification of others in your own mind. So the crucial point here is what we call the second glance rule. Look, you can't always control the very first thing that crosses your path or pops up on your screen. That's just life. But you absolutely have control over the second glance. When something catches your eye, just follow these two super manageable steps. Step 1, mentally acknowledge that person's humanity. Step 2, immediately move your focus somewhere else. It's a simple boundary, sure, but it is incredibly empowering. Which leads us to Section 3, stepping out of isolation. You know, lust thrives in the dark. So bringing your struggle into the light with a trusted mentor or a small group is absolutely essential to breaking its power over you. Notice the two vital pillars supporting this. First is accountability. Just knowing you have to check in and be honest with someone, that creates a vital speed bump during moments of weakness. Second is humanizing others. Lust, by its very definition, objectifies. But building deep platonic friendships reminds us that others are whole people. They have souls, intricate stories, their own struggles. They aren't just images or bodies. Next up, Section 4, identifying the root need. We have to look under the hood here. Often what we call lust is actually a misdirected desire for intimacy, comfort, or even just an escape from being bored. Notice how we can literally map our hidden feelings to real actions here. When the impulse hits, ask yourself, what am I actually feeling right now? If that hidden feeling is loneliness, the spiritual rest is praying for companionship. If you're stressed, seek peace through meditation or silence. If you're just plain tired, take those specific physical and emotional needs straight to God. It's all about mapping your feelings to real spiritual rest. And finally, Section 5, choosing grace over perfection. As your mentor today, I really want to emphasize that spirituality is a marathon, guys. It's not a sprint. Stumbling is literally just a part of the race. So we have to ask the tough question. What happens when you fail? Because let's be real, it is completely inevitable that you will face moments of weakness. You're human. But remember this, it is not the failure that defines you. It's exactly how you respond to that failure that determines your path forward. When we do stumble, shame is usually the very first emotion to show up at the door. But shame is incredibly dangerous because it usually leads to more numbing through the exact habits we are trying to break. It's a trap. To escape this toxic shame spiral, try following these 3 steps. Acknowledge the slip honestly. Ask for forgiveness. And immediately, without delay, turn right back toward grace and God. Do not wallow in the dark. And to help cushion those falls, remember that daily discipline acts as preventative medicine. Consistent prayer and reading scripture, that strengthens your spirit incrementally over time. Think of it like this. You want to build up your defenses and your spiritual stamina on the sunny days. That way, you aren't frantically trying to build a shelter when the storm has already hit. I want to leave you with this beautifully profound thought from Augustine of Hippo. He said, "The heart is a small thing, but it desires great things. It has not room for 2 great loves." Your heart was made for absolute greatness. So keep stepping forward, be gentle with yourself, lean into grace, and ask yourself today, what great, beautiful love will you choose to cultivate in your heart? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.